Nadine, how are we doing in terms of participants? Should we start in a minute?
Yes, I think we can start in a minute. There's nobody else in the waiting room, but maybe some more people will join. So let's just start at 4:05.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'll start. I think we can start now. Thank you everyone who's joining us online this afternoon here in the Netherlands and from wherever you're joining us. This is the budget session for the Water and Development Partnership Program organized by Nadine and myself, Anna. And the structure of this session, it will start with some general questions that we have recently received since we advertised the large-scale grant in November. Then we'll have a short announcement of the new budget template that's been uploaded, and we'll have most of the time of this session for direct questions from yourself in regards of the budget to us. We received a few queries regarding on the co-founding, on whether if it can be charged or how it can be charged. And the maximum grant that you can ask to the program is of 1.5, and the co-founding can be on top of that requested money. And the co-founding, it doesn't necessarily have to be monetary speaking. It can also be provided in terms of events, administrative actions, and so. We also received questions in regard if we have any template for support letters. We do not, but we do give guidelines in the Annex 1 that you can find in the proposal template. This is also a reminder for everyone applying. If you have or you are a partner, that you will receive more than 125,000 euros. It is asked to do an audit, and therefore you should budget those costs inside the budget. In terms of the deadline of this first grant and call, it is set to be the 14th of February, and it will not be changed. If you have any conflicts or problems, please direct your queries and concerns to our email of DUPC3 Secretariat, and you'll find it at the end of this presentation. I'll show it with you. And another question that we received is on whether if high-income partners or international NGOs based in the region of the program are entitled to budget. in principle, no. The only exception if they are crucial for the project to be developed and they cannot budget time, but it can be compensated for travel costs. So as I mentioned at the start, we have updated the budget templates since it came to our attention in some cells. So we fixed that, and you will be our webpage under documents for project leaders as it was in the old one. I believe Nadine will share the link in the chat as well now.
Sorry, Anna?
Yes.
I'm not sure if I was the only one, but you had a slight delay. So I just to repeat is that we've updated the budget sheets after we got some feedback from people who were working on the budget. There were some errors. You can find that updated budget sheet on the website. I just posted the link to the page in the chat. Yeah.
Thank you, Nadine. We will now open the floor for any questions of the participants here. Just as a reminder, you can also type them on the chat and we'll pick them up in order of being written down.
Yeah, but please feel free to open your mic and share your question with us. Dr. Rashid, I see that you are, see here.
Yes, sure. I'm just thinking of the support letters. At which level should we address this? Because sometimes we write the Director General from the ministry, then they request the president of your university should approach our minister. And this is a tedious, centralized, hated approach. And we, considering the difficulties of each country, we've had support letters from the Director General or from the head of the research department of individual governmental agencies. At which level should those support letters? We don't have any difficulty, but because of the time.
Well, preferably, I understand it depends a little bit on the size of the organization. I mean, universities are quite big, so there I would say that on the departmental level, it's fine. If organizations are a bit smaller, it would be good to have support from.
Excuse me, from the university, we don't have any difficulties, but we should have also support from the governmental, because we are working in the water or energy sector. So within the framework of their strategies and policies, so they should supply and match their endeavor. That's my question. So we have support letters from the Director General. My general question is that so crucial to have it from the minister signed and stamped?
No, I wouldn't say so. But I mean, I think also you would know better on which level you need to involve the people to ensure the implementation of the project. But I would say that it's sufficient.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jonathan?
Hi, hello. Thanks for meeting up. Yes, I have a question about the support letters and the partners. It's just we have some partners in regions that are experiencing some conflicts right now, like Sudan or Ethiopia, and they have gone silent right now. It's really difficult to get them. So then I heard that there will be no extensions on the deadline, but then I wonder if there will be some extensions on support letters, or then what do we do these focus areas that we have partners with, and we would like to work with them, but we cannot really reach them. Can we, I mean, if it's not possible to work with them, do we get more, less chances to get the funding if we switch to countries that are not part of the focus regions, but that, I mean, that we have actually chances of working with them?
So there, I heard two questions. First is the letter of support, if they can be submitted later. So in the proposal review, we will check if support letters has been submitted. But if, I mean, if you have a statement that you've tried, but there is delay, we take that into account. And there will be, for the approved proposals, there will be an inception phase. So this will also allow time to receive this written support from the partners involved. And then, but of course, if it's difficult to reach those partners, you also have to ask, how are you gonna work together if the situation is difficult to have contact with each other? Of course, I mean, that's also important, right? And then if you can change the countries, yes, but especially these larger scale projects need to have also a focus country in the proposal. You can also work in other countries, but there need to be an exchange with the focus countries of the program for those larger scale projects.
Okay, Nadine. So yes, like so we're contemplating working in some focus countries, but then yeah. So then, how does the allocation of funding works? So then, I mean, we can also work in countries that are considered as low and middle income, but are not considered focused. Yeah. And will they also be able to receive the same funding as other countries that are considered focus regions?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Kaita, I see you have your hand raised.
Yes. So I'm from 2IE, Burkina Faso.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our hope to work on 4 countries. And I have some questions related to how the budget will be managed. I read the guideline document. For example, for the issues of accommodation and DSA, are leading organizational rules followed, or all individual partners? If you have 4 partners, for example, each of these partners' rules will be followed, or it's only one of the leading organizations? That is my first question.
Okay.
And the second question is about that one also we read in the budget guideline document. How about the handover of the equipment at the end of the project? I mean the equipment that's used by the partners, not the association or organization who will benefit from the project, because we will put some infrastructure there. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about we are training in the research institute, for example. Some equipment will remain in our level. In other countries, it will be the same. So how this issue is going to be resolved, I'm not sure I have understood it very well. And the third one, the last one, is how to keep track on the time writing. I understood that you have a specific sheet for that. So if you could explain a little bit, because this is not usual in every organizations. So if you could elaborate a little more about this. Thank you very much.
So regarding your first question on the DSA and accommodation, we encourage to follow the partner regulation. So it's not the lead partner regulations, but the partner regulations. The second one was about handing over of equipment. I'm not sure if I understood correctly. So this is equipment bought with the DUPC funding. Is that correct? Kaita? Sorry.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is equipment bought for a partner,
Yeah, for research, for investigations, for training of the beneficiaries, etc., etc. These things used by the partner organizations.
Yeah. So what then needs to be done is that we have some handover forms for the equipment, and those need to be signed, and that then the equipment stays with the partner.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes. It's okay.
And your final question was?
Time.
Oh, time rating.
Keep track of the time.
Yeah, so for the reasoning behind this is that for our accountant, because we get controls, and for our finance department, it's important that the cost made by our partners is proved, and this can include time writing, but we also understand that not all our partners have a time writing system in place. So this can be done with an Excel sheet, for example, and we have an example sheet that we can share with partners to keep track of time spent on the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Okay, thank you for your questions. Eldon?
Yep, thank you. Thank you so much for this very nice introduction. I have two questions. First, I will ask the question that is related to the involvement of industries. So in our proposal, we are planning for involving a few industries. They are from Palestine and also from Jordan. But with respect to the cost or the co-funding, they are not in a position to support with any materials or other manpower. They are not able to support any funding for the project. But what they have told us is that they would be able to support us with a little bit of their staff time and also infrastructure, like providing a land area for installation and demonstration of our technologies at the wastewater treatment plant. So in this case, how do we do a budget for them? And can we consider that as a co-funding, or can you please advise?
Yeah, so that can be considered as co-funding.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to for the budget, you have to translate it in some way in monetary value.
Yeah, okay, so that is over a period of maybe 4 years, and then we would have to do this local tariffs for the land or the electricity that we would use, and some of the support that they would give. And when it comes to support, you know that they are technical or research staff who would be supporting us. So what are the tariffs for them, you know?
I'm assuming they have their tariffs.
Because
so
for them, they only do with the salary, if I'm right. And maybe Rashid can tell me something about the situation in Palestine.
Yeah, I raised my hand the issue actually. What Nadine illustrated, that concerning the timesheets, I guess it's similar to that what we have had in DUPC 2. It's a tedious Excel file, but partners should be accustomed to fill in and achieve the goal of this in recording the time paid staff time at least. Concerning the what was that, Eldon? Concerning the tariff,
concerning the also, for example, they give a land for us to keep, and also the electricity or other.
Yeah, sure. That's easy to calculate. Each partner should be able actually to calculate how much land rent per year. This is easy, easy task. We've had also used, because it's private land. It's easy to calculate. It's not a problem. This leads me to a question related to the IG tariff. It is mentioned somewhere in the documents that we should consult a respective department at IG, but I would suggest if we could also ask our partners directly, as we've done in DUPC2, the rates of IG staff, time staff, how many euro per day. This is crucial for us, because sometimes in the last minute, we couldn't find, or could be replaced. So we have to recalculate once more. So if there's a unified table, that could be, it's not a secret to share individual partner upon their request. Second question is that if we could, it was also asked by DUPC2. I wonder if it's also applied for DUPC3, rates of local project partners. Professor, associate professor, assistant, and also in the document they also asked for marginalized and young career. This is easy to, but marginalized, I don't know. Concerning Palestine, the whole country is a marginalized one, but concerning the young career, we could also. Is it the question is this, to make story short? Is it required to provide a piece of statement signed from the institute, the individual rates of staff project members for each partner? That's the question.
Okay, so I'm going to start with your last question. I think this also, I'm also going to try to answer your question, Eldon. So indeed, we need proof. We need proof of rates from partners. And some partners have a tariff per day, like we have in IG Delft. And some partners have maybe monthly salary. In the budget guidelines, you can see how you can calculate based on the monthly tariff, day tariff. So maybe Anna, can you share the link to the budgeting guidelines where this information can be found?
Yeah.
And then if partners cannot provide proof, we also have some standard tariffs based on different positions. So I hope that answers both your questions.
Yes. Yeah, I think because that is exactly what we did with some previous projects with Thailand. They had for professors, there was a standard rate, and we just used that. And they were also quite happy with those rates, and it was quite acceptable also for them. So I think in my case, in our case, I would go with the standard rates rather than asking the company, and then I don't know how they would react.
Yeah, please have a look at the budget guidelines. I also don't know from the top of my head what are those rates, but they are mentioned in the guidelines. Okay, excellent. Yeah, so I have my second very short question. Sorry, just a second. I think Dr. Rashid had one more question. If we can share a list with tariffs.
Yeah, of IG stuff.
So I think in the budgeting guidelines, there's a list of the tariffs that we use in general, but we cannot share the tariffs of functions or persons, or I mean, you can contact us with specific questions or contact another IG person that's working with you on the project.
Yeah, that's easy. No problem.
Yeah,
understand. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think that was it, Dr. Rashid.
Yes, I wouldn't take the before Eldon has a small question concerning the Excel file. I tried to insert some line or to write on the first page of the Excel. It's hidden and asks for a password. Is it the whole sheet, or perhaps make the function as hidden that I cannot manipulate? Perhaps other fields I might write equations or copy text, or why it is so strict if I would add a budget line for name, or so I have to ask for permission. That's what I understood.
Yeah, we try to, we have made the, because we have included a lot of formulas in the Excel sheet to calculate some of the criteria. Therefore, we locked the Excel sheet, because if people start to edit, then we lose our formulas. And
that's understandable. That experience we went through, actually understandable. Okay, we will go through. Actually, it was just a scan test.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry, Alvin.
Yes. Yeah. So my second question is for our partners and the staffs from their respective institutions. Some of the staff members are also interested who are going to join the project. They're also interested to finish the UTQ as a part of the training, as a part of our educational activities in the project. So for that, should we ask the institution from their side to give a co-funding or a full funding, or can we also budget that within the DUPC 3?
So this is this is partner institutions that follow the UTQ training?
Yeah. Can they follow a UTQ training? Because I think we all do that, and they are all our strategic partners in the region. And
yeah,
if they can, yeah, so they will also be contributing to the development of MOOCs, and they will also contribute to the development of our online programs. And I know that many of them will be contributing to our new MSc program of 1 year. So yeah. I think this UTQ is a very important step, even for our Dutch system. So I'm just thinking, how can we include that, or should we expect them to co-fund? Yeah.
No, you can include that. I would also say that this is part of, this is training, so capacity development.
Okay, excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
That's excuse me, that's the experience we went through DUPC 2. It was fully funded, actually. And even we gave incentives for the trainees, because the time, that's the income contribution, because it was full time for associate professor or for assistant professor to lead the universities. So that's included in the budget.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Adus? Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly.
Okay, thank you for organizing this online event. I have two questions related to the budget. The first question, if we are included the master student and PhD, it will be funded. Another question I have about the equipments and the infrastructure, so that if we want to include it as a co-finance, is possible or not? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your questions. So regarding the MSc students and PhD students, yes, this can be included. Also, please look at the budget guidelines for the details and how you can include PhDs and MSc students in your research. And equipment, use of equipment, use of rooms, time input can all be considered as co-funding. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Kasem Abdallah.
Yes, Nadine, thank you very much for putting this together. With the, the funding is in euros, and obviously the payment in different local countries will be in different currencies. So is it possible to include in the budget a certain budget item for differences in currency and exchange rate variations? Because we're talking about a 3-year project that there will be differences in the budget. Would that be a possibility to include it?
Unfortunately, well, you can, unfortunately, no, because our finance department will pay based on the current exchange rate. So I don't know if that was your question. If you said that you want to fix the exchange for this moment for the rest of the period. Because if that was your question, we cannot do that.
Yeah, well, yeah, so essentially for you, it is at the time of award, correct?
No, so yeah, so now for the budget you submit at the time of award, but it's in euros. So that means that in 1 year, if you ask for an advance payment, for example, then we use that current exchange rate and not the exchange rate of the moment of submission.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
Yeah,
Nadine,
thank
there
you
is
for the question.
Nadine, also there's a link. It's not just Google to calculate the transfer. There's an accredited or adopted link for you, for the partners to use for the exchange rate. So if I buy something in JD, so translating the JD into euro, there is a link for that specific value at the moment of purchase.
Yes.
But if there are transfer, I don't. That leads me the good question from Qasim, my colleague. The partners, for example, in Palestine for Jordan, will those partners get the budget from IG transfer or from the lead partner? Because there is a question behind.
So for the DUPC 3 program, we are working in consortiums. That means that all partners will receive the money from IHE Delft.
So not from Jordan or from Morocco or from historically the partner and the lead got their money from IHE directly.
Yeah.
That's easier. That's much more easier because in DUPC2 was sometimes difficulties in transfer, and there are also a cost for the transfer between the banks. That's also a hidden cost that we have to be innovative how to cover that. It could be somewhere. I would suggest if we have a financial auditing to put a fraction of percentage considering this either rate of transfer or transfer between the banks.
Yeah, you can include those costs in the budgets. But in this case, in those large-scale projects, we will work with consortium agreements, and all partners will be receive their funding directly from IHE Delft. Maybe in later projects, the small and medium-scale projects, but we're not there yet. We do it differently, but we haven't started that discussion yet.
So each partner will be responsible for their own auditing if their budget is greater than 125K, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Are there any questions in the chat?
I have a general question, if you allow me, please. So if I'm working with a certain entity that I want to identify them as partners, well, quote unquote partners that will do a certain task, but I don't want to include them as partners in the project as a whole. So maybe a subcontractor or something to that effect. Is there any restriction there or the limitations that we need to be aware of?
No. From the program, we have a preference to include all partners equally through a consortium agreement, but we also understand that some services that are a bit smaller, they will be subcontracted. That's okay.
And by equally, are we talking about monetary equally within maybe 10%, 5%, or is it, I mean, can we make it just...
No, it had more to do, like our thinking behind that was to not put the responsibility of payments, it's scattered in the project, so to not have like regional leads, for example, but keep the money distribution here with us to the different partners. But we also understand if there's a subcontract for a specific service, so this partner is not maybe not a big of a like doesn't contribute so much to the project. It's okay. I mean, as long as the major partners in the project, yeah, they are part of the consortium.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope that was clear. Okay. Kaita, please.
Yeah, I have two other questions. I'll read in the. I will start with the last point you just developed about the transferring funding or funds to each partners. So my question is, due to our experience in this area, some NGOs, they have difficulties to implement properly what was planned. So if there is a problem there, what is the responsibility of the leading organization there? If the fund is directly transferred to the NGO, for example, in different countries. That's my first question. Second question, I think the projects are supposed to have a duration of between, you say 3 to 5 years, huh?
Yeah.
And then a PhD, a normal PhD would last 4 years. So the related question is, can a PhD go beyond the duration of the project? If I take a project of 3 years, a PhD is 4 years. So would that be possible or not? Or necessarily the minimum is 4 years? Just confirmation.
Well, I would say if you already know that you're involving a PhD, then you also know that actually the project continues, right? Because the PhD is part of the project. So then I would say, I mean, make the duration at least 4 years. Yeah. And regarding your second question of transferring of funds, I'm not sure if I understood correctly, but it sounded like you pay a partner and then this partner is not implementing, but you lose the funding. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, because we have seen, unfortunately, it happens.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I want you to maybe to say a little bit more about what is the responsibility of the leading organization in this matter of the funding used exactly according to what was planned.
Yeah. So there are different responsibilities here. First, of course, it's the content. That's the responsibility of the project. And it can always happen that a partner is not participating. This also happened before. You can replace this partner if, I mean, after several tries, it's not working. And in case a payment has already been made, I mean, yeah, that's a risk, and the risk lies with us as the organization that receives the money from the donor, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. What we do is that we include restrictions for how much funding can be transferred. So we never transfer the whole budget for that partner. We always say, I mean, in previous program in DUPC 2, we said that partners can ask for 50% of the yearly budget. And then if they want to ask for another advance payment, they have to show proof of that expenditure in case partners have to do an audit report, this is something that we're also still discussing, how we're going to include that, and it depends. I think this will be a case-by-case basis. So if a partner, if we have already experience with this partner, also if this partner shows good financial administration and there's lower risk, we might say that an audit report only needs to be done at the end of the project. But if we see a risk and this partner has a budget above 125,000, we might ask for additional proof or maybe an audit report on a yearly basis. But we also have to see and decide upon this case by case, because we also see that there sometimes is a risk. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for that question. Manali?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
I wanted to ask if we have a bank account in euros, can we receive the funding in euros? Because we will be applying from Lebanon. And I don't know if you are aware of the rates of the Lebanese lira. It's crazy now. It's always going up and down. And at the level of the banks, also it's not stable. So can we receive it in euros or at least in dollars, perhaps?
Yeah, if you have a bank account that receives in euros or dollars, yeah, you can.
Okay, great, thank you.
Kasem?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry to keep bothering you.
That's what we're here for.
Thank you. So my question is about contingencies. Is there an upper cap of how much we can put in those? Because that might be helpful with the fair or exchange rate differences. It might be helpful for some tax expenses that are unforeseen that could come. So any guidelines in terms of the contingency reserve and how much to put there?
Contingencies, yeah. Good question. Actually, Anna, I don't think that we have discussed this, right?
No.
Usually it's 5%, but I will have to check this and how we deal with that, because I know in previous projects, then the contingencies could only be used. Well, it needs to be included in the total. You cannot exceed the 1.5 million requested budget. So it needs to be part of that. I would say 5%, but I need to confirm.
Okay, sounds good. So,
Yeah.
so should we wait on an email from you or maybe an update or Q&A?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I didn't raise my hand, Anna, Nadine. Concerning the equipment, through different Dutch programs, we have had to show zero VAT. Is that also applies for the equipment we purchase for DUPC 3? So we can exempt in the tax. Is it requested to have those equipment purchased under zero VAT rule?
No, it depends, because if you have to pay VAT, then you need to make sure that it's included in the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I see a question from Jonathan. Is there any provision in case a country we work with suffers from financial sanctions, including transferring funds? Very good question. No, and this has also been a challenge in previous projects. Yeah, this needs to be discussed. Also, if a project is awarded, we need to think about how we're gonna deal with that. because indeed there are a few countries to which IHE Delft cannot transfer funds because of our bank. Oh, sorry, I have to chase my cat. Hey, who was on the kitchen. Okay, Caroline, please.
All right. Good evening, all. Sorry, I joined a bit late.
No problem.
I joined from Nairobi, Kenya.
Welcome.
I have a question I have not been able to spot. Does the budget allow for indirect costs, and what percentage?
This is, well, we prefer that it's included in the tariffs, but have a look in the budget guidelines. There is some space for indirect cost, I believe.
Is there a limit to the percentage?
I don't know by heart, but there is a limit. Yeah. And let me see. Budget here. I'm gonna, but please have a look. I'm gonna copy again this link. So I'm copying the link again. There was, oh, sorry. I'm everyone in the meeting. I'm resharing the link to the budget guidelines that was shared by Anna earlier. Please have a look here. There's more information also about including indirect costs.
All right, thank you. I will check through.
Okay. And if you have any other questions, you can always contact us via the email. Yeah. Aziz, I also have another question here. Did you consider the budget fee management by our administration and how is the limit? Okay, so this is actually a similar question. This can be included, but I don't know by heart what is the limit for this. Have a look at the budgeting guidelines. And if you still have questions, please contact us by via the email address that we put in the chat. Yeah. Okay. Please let us know if you have any other questions. If not, know that you can always reach us by the email address shared in the chat, also available on the website. Yeah, I think, okay. I see a final question. Kaita, please.
Yeah, just to be sure, the updated file that we could download of the budget Excel sheet was for from January 21st.
Yeah.
Have you changed again or not? Is it?
No.
It has been updated after that or not? Or
No, this is the
one?
final version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Anna, back to you to finalize.
Well, thank you once again, everyone, for joining this budget session. As Nadine has explained, if there are any further questions, you can direct them to our Secretariat email address. You will find it in the chat again, and you can always find it on our webpage. Also, a kind reminder that all the documents for project leaders are found under projects for project leaders in our webpage of DUPC3. So thanks again for your time, and I wish you have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Nadine. Thanks, Anna.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Nadine and Anna. Bye.
Thanks for joining. Have a nice week.
You too.